Chad, I can't do this.
I'll edit it out like we're going with 5. So start whenever.
I'm started already.
I just can't find you.
I thought I'd make my first video going over all the parts that we're going to do on the Leaf. There's a lot. We have the Blitz coilovers front and back. Height adjustable, preload adjustable, and then 32-way adjustable on the top. To get the camera right, after lowering the car, I got these Specialty Products camber bolts. They go on the top bolt. Those should help when we get the alignment done. The back, kind of the same, but they're divorced coilovers, so springs are separate from the shocks. I bought this kit used from Japan. So the boots were torn. So I got these red boots on Amazon. They used this plastic piece to hold the spring cup in. I was missing one. And I really don't like, this is all that's between the metal body of the car and the spring perch. So I had to make one. I got this sheet of polyurethane, traced it out and made it. So at least I have a little more cushion in between the body of the car and this metal piece. To go one step further, Blitz uses this hard plastic ring in between the spring and this mount. I replaced it with this energy suspension piece, little spring isolator. It's an electric car. Every little bump, noises are loud. I just want to make sure that I'm not hearing the coilovers bind up and make noises. So I did that. Blitz also uses the factory Nissan rubber mount for the bottom of the spring. I wanted to replace that with something from Energy Suspension too, but it's a pretty detailed piece. It conforms to this on both the spring and the mount on the car on the trailing arm. So I didn't really see any way of doing that. So I'm just going to use the factory piece like the instructions say to do. When you're mounting the shock, Blitz also has you use these factory mounts. One goes underneath the car, and then I don't have another stock one, but then one goes on top of the car. I'm going to replace these black Nissan ones with these red Energy Suspension ones. They're much stiffer, should perform better, last forever. Yeah, just trying to get rid of pretty much every stock bushing in the car. In the back on the trailing arm, I was able to measure the bushing, and I thought I measured everything. And this bushing from Super Pro is for a 2014 Nissan Cube, and it fits great. You can drop the trailing arm and cut out the old one, use an air hammer to knock it out, and then stick this in there, and it goes in pretty nicely. The problem is the Nissan Cube uses a smaller bolt than the Leaf. This hole diameter is 12 millimeter. The diameter of the Leaf bolt is 14. I'm sure you could have a machine shop bore that out. I tried drilling it out, but it's really hard to steel and it's not going anywhere. I chose to get these spacers that I found on the internet. They change a 12 millimeter or a 14 millimeter hole to a 12 millimeter bolt. So I'm just gonna use those. And then I bought a new bolt. It's the easiest way for me to do it at home without going to a machine shop and all that. This is a real nice piece for do-it-yourself. I'll get into that when I get over here to the control arms. Yeah, to the control arms. This is one of the control arms I bought just from Rock Auto. It's a stock Nissan Leaf one. And then this is a bushing set from, these are from PowerFlex for a Nissan Juke. Obviously I'll have to take these stock bushings out, then you press in this metal piece and then you press in the bushing. Here in the United States, for this front one, the black is race and the purple is your street. This front one only comes in race in the United States. I don't know why. Super Pro also makes a set, which is in 2 pieces, so you wouldn't need a press to put the new ones in. So technically you could cut these out with like a Sawzall and reinstall them yourself. I didn't know that when I ordered these, otherwise I probably would have gone with the Super Pro ones, just to make it a little bit more DIY friendly. I'll put the part numbers for all of them, including PowerFlex or Super Pro, in the description of the video. Changed out this to this energy suspension piece here. It just covers the ball joint. It's not really doing anything performance wise. It just kind of looks cool, and compared to like a little rubber boot, it's indestructible. So it slides on. It doesn't have any zip ties or any connectors, but it's on there super tight. It's not coming off. No grease is coming out of there. It looks a little loose at the bottom, but there's another lip in there that it's super tight on. So that takes care of the front control arms. And I have these PowerFlex sway bar bushings. These are also for a Juke. Most of the places that sell Juke sway bar bushings, it will ask you if it's either a 19 or a 23. The Leaf is a 23 millimeter sway bar, which is like the Nismo version of the Juke. So we have those here. We'll be putting those in. That's about it. I have these long hub bolts. I had the loose axle nut on the front right of my car, and I failed to tighten them or re-grease them in a timely manner. So I think my wheel bearing is bad. So I figured if I'm going to do the wheel bearing, it'd be a good time to do these. No real performance gain. It's cool having an actual Nismo part. It's the only part number in America that you can buy from Nismo, but that's just an American thing. Some racing sanctioning bodies want to see you have an open lug nut with some of the threads coming through, so it actually does make sense to do these. I only have enough to do the front right now. I should probably get another set. I think that covers everything. I thought ordering all this stuff and finding the part numbers and doing all this interchange stuff was the hardest part. But I'm finding that making these videos is harder for me than hopefully working on the car is. This is not my thing. Talking about myself or talking to a camera. It's hard for me. But I got the garage cleaned up, ready to start installing some of this stuff. I did one of these bushings and I'm glad I didn't film it because I struggled. But that's what these videos are about. Just finding parts for the Leaf that don't exist and making stuff work for the Leaf. I want to do other videos. I have access to a dyno, so I want to change the oil, the gear oil. I want to dyno the car before and after the gear oil change. I've seen some videos where people say it makes power, so we'll be able to actually tell if it makes power or not. I'd love to get enough followers and subscribers to keep going on this project. You know, I'd love to get the limited slip differential in there and stuff like that. That's all.